Hello, hello, friends, and welcome back to the Golden Feather Tavern. I'm Chibi. I am taking over today, and I am wearing my Spider-Man shirt because I just felt like it. I hope everybody has had a wonderful weekend. It is Monday. I'm Spider TV. Cheers. Ooh, a 45 stream watch streak. That's crazy. Welcome in, Oracle. Hello, Newtastic. I'm drinking some water today. I'm quite thirsty. So this is gonna be a little bit different. Usually this is Vertex Mead Quest, or I am like co-hosting this alongside him. But Vertex is actually currently out caravanning, and I'm about to also be traveling. So it's gonna be a little bit of a short one today, just as a heads up. But what I did want to talk about is your guys' likes, your dislikes, and the qualitative aspects. And by that, we mean what items did you guys feel you needed to try first before actually having much of an opinion on it? So I kind of want to go through one thing that we did in Discord is we have a question from the Tavern Keepers, and we had a variety of them going on. We asked you what is like the games that you guys are playing, and what are you looking for if you had to sell your ideal MMORPG, things like that. So we'll just jump right into the likes, and I'll kind of walk us through that. But the idea is I want to grab the ones from Discord, and then if there's anybody who's here in chat that wants to give us yours as well, I will add that in here as well. But I think I want to get through the likes first, and then I have a poll for you guys. And for those of you that are watching this later, I also would love your input as well. So when we get to the end of all of this, if you want to share your likes, your dislikes, and what you have to try first before knowing if that's the right game for you, I would love to hear from you. And also, what rating system should we use? I just attempted a trial in Nira. Sadly, I died in the attempt. Oh no. All right, so first question was, if you had to sell your ideal MMORPG in one feature, what would you pick? Mine would be a really good story. So I need engaging story. That is my first one. And then Solverin had said fishing and stealth. Yes, fishing and stealth. Let's get that out of the way. Solverin says combat. But I feel like combat, with what he said, is either part of the world or a UX light show, and I don't like overly done. I feel like combat would come in here as well. And we do have combat flow in systems. So just gonna pass on that one. Newtastic said if it had to be a single object, I'd have to say immersion. And I agree. I really like it when a story is immersive. So immersion. Hello, Vale. Welcome in. Cheers. And also, yes, I think if Erwin sees a game that has some sort of rogue or like stealth attribute to it, and then also fishing, he's pretty happy. But yeah, so then Noob said if it has to be a system, then it's combat. The happy I am. But that would require a certain level of graphics and animation for it to work. So it has to have really good graphic animations. Like the attacks have to feel like they're hitting, right? Weightiness. I'll add that. Animations, good animations go a long way. If you open a crafting window and click a button and nothing happens, it doesn't feel good. I agree with that one. Fantasy and sci-fi simulation, like vastness of a world and so on. Ooh, I like that. Like how much space of a world do I have to be in? Absolutely. All right, let me see. Animations are in here already. Yeah, responsive and weighty attacks. I think I'll take animations just to be by itself, and then do responsive here. Responsive, weightiness, and then I love welcome in, by the way. Uh, you're a huge gremlin. Welcome in, huge gremlin. Corton is something akin to the Bioware Swartor voice quest. It's right. Oh yeah. Okay. Hey, welcome in, Corton. Viscaler. But yes, the sci-fi fantasy simulation, like the vastness of the world. I like that. Been here before, just changed names. Okay. Well, I like your name because I am what I like to call dice gremlin. I have all of my dice safely away from me right now, but I would like to say I'm a dice gremlin. I wish I could swap my name. Man, I bet somebody took it, huh? So like world size. There we go. World size. I like that. Because if a world's too small, you feel like you don't really have much to go and you like ran out of content. But if a world is pretty vast, then there's a lot of things to explore and check out. And I really appreciate that. Fun fact, a lot of my likes and dislikes for MMOs also coincide nicely with, oh no, okay. My likes and dislikes will coincide nicely with TTRPGs. So yeah. Bean says a good crafting system. And I agree with this. I think crafting, like a good crafting system is really important. I want to feel like collecting all 800 sticks was worth it, but also enough flexibility to make a stick of bonk with one type of stick and stick of smack with another. I do like feeling like I'm helping my guild by being a crafter, not just another person who is also clicking a million buttons. And I actually ended up sharing this in the Discord, but if you like Viva La Dirt League, I think is what their name is, they had this thing where like the player who was a crafter became an NPC because people were just constantly going up to him, asking him to make stuff, and then he just turned into an NPC. To me, an MMO would have to be a world, or it's a no-go with all it involves. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. It's like massive, right? If it's not massively, like, you're missing the big M there. One of those things are the other players. Yes, exactly. Scaling end game content. That is important. Scaling end game content. Whoops. And I think that this is important. A lot of us, we get to the end game and we're like, okay, I mean, there's a reason why Final Fantasy XIV is fashion, right? Fashion's the end game. There's rating as the end game. I like having options where you can still go further. For example, I really like how mythics are in WoW in terms of concept. You can go in and you can continuously make it more difficult and get rewards out of doing that. And I think that's fun. Nahili says, I'd like to see the return of more social tools or social-based classes that can support combat, crafting, and gathering. Like Star Wars Galaxy, I think, had entertainers and doctors, which I suppose also goes hand in hand with the roleplay toolkit. So social/roleplay toolkit. I'll add here. Okay. And then, yeah, I'd love to be able to have my one thing for me with the animations. I'd love to be able to start crafting in a game and be able to like record my character like doing the animations of crafting without being stuck in like a window or something. I think that would be kind of cool. I saw a couple of games do that where somebody was like sitting and then their character started like flipping through a book. It's just these little like real life touches to the character. I think I like them a lot. All right, so those are all the likes that I gathered from Discord from 4-ish days ago, 4 or 5. Now we're gonna move on to dislikes. But before I move on to dislikes, I'm going to put up a poll. A lot of you seem to be chatting on Twitch, but I'll put it on both just in case. I think YouTube's will just be kind of staying there. So what scale should we judge on? And so I want to offer 2 different scales. There's a 1 to 3 scale, which is a little bit more close. It's a little easier to be like dislike, neutral, like. But then there's also the 1 to 5 scale, which has a little bit more nuance in it. Like 1, I really didn't like it. 2, I kind of didn't like it. 3, I'm neutral. 4, I kind of liked it. 5, I really liked it. I loved it, kind of thing. So let me get a poll going. New poll. What scale should we use? And then I figured this would help with determining how important different things should be in terms of, I'm going to put this for the max 10 minutes. There we go. In terms of like, for example, an engaging story might be like a 3 for an importance multiplier, but the animations or immersion are more maybe like a 5, things like that. So we'll go back at the end of all of this and kind of decide on that. But the poll is up, so feel free to go ahead and engage with that. So I said, if you could remove one thing from most MMORPGs forever, what would it be? I said yesterday that we were asking the one thing that you really liked, and today we're asking what's the one thing you didn't want. For me, it's open world PvP that I cannot opt out of or opt into. So basically Vertec has it here, which he labeled it as a noob, but unfettered open world PvP. If I can't opt in and out of that, I don't really want to touch it. It's not really for me. I'm always RP like didn't like that modern MMOs removed the RPG. I'm like, yeah, right. I felt like somewhere along the lines, the MMORPGs and some RPGs have started losing that roleplay element a little bit. But Fable's gonna have a huge amount of RP in it. I'm excited. But yes, so Vertec basically already was like, yes, agreement. Good evening, Gavin. Welcome in. Cheers. Having some water. I'll be talking a lot, so I figured I'd get some water. So, Nihili said this, or at minimum, do what Warhammer did, which is make areas on the map capped for level ranges regarding PvP encounters. So the Highwayman Hills in Ashes of Creation, for instance, was a flagged area for level 10 to 13. Then only the people of those level range could be able to actively PvP each other, rather than like a level 25 rolling in and just attacking everybody. And then, let's see. I'd be fine with that too, but I prefer opt-in versus opt-out myself. So if nothing else, let it be limited to your level, basically, which I agree with that. And well, Gravin, how was your weekend? How was, you were playing Quinfall? How are you liking that? Keo does not like instances. However, housing is okay. There was a little bit of a poke from being like, what about instanced housing? Is instanced housing okay? I like it. Okay, it does have its issues. Fair. Very fair. I do have a poll if you are curious or interested. What scale should we rank all of these on? I don't think you can see my mouse, but that's fine. The multiplier is like a 1 to 5 multiplier or a 1 to 3 multiplier, where the 5 allows for a little bit more nuance into your rankings. And the idea is eventually I'd like to create a form list where you guys can also submit your thoughts on the different games. So we shall see. Hello, Thogly. Cheers. Oh, it's so tiny. I think Vertec forgot to make it larger, but it's dwarf sized. I love it. Cheers. Speaking of, I believe Vertec has a gift for you that he intends to mail out. Womp womp, dwarf sized. So, lack of support for new players, says Bean. I was lucky to have very kind people explain things to me when I joined AOC. Otherwise, I'd be lost. Now, this should be opt-in. Not everyone needs it, but it would be nice. So I think I'm going to put in here a good first-time user experience. Oops, that's maybe it here. Bad first-time user experience. There we go. Best thing about Quinfall is only $10. Fair. All right, just as a heads up, there's about to be an ad. So I'm going to pause what I'm looking over. I'm just going to kind of reiterate for anybody who's just joined. I'm basically going through everybody's likes and dislikes from Discord, and I'm adding them to our list here. And then eventually we're going to go back through all of these and give them a ranking. But right now I have a poll for you guys to tell me what your preferences, for the scaling, 1 to 5 or 1 to 3. But for the rest of you, let me know what you're thinking on that. Don't forget to join the Discord. We do have a lot of conversations going on. I actually have a poll right now that is about like what barback should look like. Let me look at the results. Okay, so funny. We have 1 vote for everything at least. There's 8 votes total, and most of the votes say barback should be a dwarf. So I think Bean might be making us a dwarven barback. I think that's funny, actually, considering some of the content that we just streamed or recorded, I mean. But yeah, heathens 1 to 3 is supreme. Dwarf. Yes. Okay, so YouTube says 1 to 5. Okay, got it. So the barback can't reach the counter to clean. No. Don't forget, I am short. I need to be able, like, I am almost dwarf height, so I need to also be able to reach the thing. There's just a secret, like, maybe step stool behind the counter. You don't know. It's a chibi height bar. Yes. In fact, fun fact, I do have a chibi height bar in the other room, and Vertec had to, like, lean just to be in the camera for it. So, yeah. So we're gonna all sit on the floor pillows. That is so rude. Also, Thogly height bar. Yes. Alrighty. So I think the ad break is ending in a moment. So I'm just gonna go ahead and swap back over to where we left off. Ooh, this too. Okay. Welcome back, guys. So I was just telling people that we have a poll going on in the Discord at the moment for what race our barback should be, and a lot of people are saying dwarf. There was dwarf, human, orc, and dragonborn. So far, dwarf is winning. It's open until Sunday, so if you want to join the Discord and put your vote in, let me, like, feel free. All right, so Bean was saying bad first-time user experience, but also a high barrier of entry. Something where you feel like there's a lot of hoops for you to jump through or a lot of things for you to get through just to actually get to the gameplay. And I agree with this. I think the high barrier to entry is kind of problematic. It can be easy to lose new players, especially if you consider how easy it is for someone who's never played an MMORPG before to get into a game. So I agree. Tutorials can be annoying if overdone, but helpful to people who are playing a new type of game. And then also like ensuring like this is opt out. Should be able to opt out. I'm just going to try and fix this. There we go. There we go. Let's see. I've heard a game where if a level 25 comes to a level 11 area. Okay, that's in response. Yeah. Pay to win versus pay for convenience needs to be defined. Okay, I can do that. Pay for convenience. This is why it says varies over here, because for us the pay to win varies, but I do think that's a good distinction. I need to versus pay for convenience. I'm just gonna put that here because Vertec and I are still gonna be looking through all of this too. So that's one of the things I don't know. I think the pay for convenience actually should come over here. There we go. I think that might be good. Cheers. Then we started talking about the different systems within the games where you can limit your level and how that would work. For example, in Final Fantasy XIV, they kind of do a little bit of stat dampening, but you also lose access to your higher level skills when you go into those lower tiers. Okay, so both Twitch and YouTube are in alignment of doing a 1 to 5 scale. Got it. 1 to 5 scale. Sounds good. So let's see. Then we talked about instances as well. About, you know, that's one of the issues in Quinfall. They term things pay for convenience, but the arguments can be made as pay to win. Yeah, like I think, for example, being able to purchase more bag space is one of those like gray areas of like you're not technically buying the best armor with all the best stats, but you're not able to just get more bag space in game, I guess, without paying real world money. So it's those microtransactions and where I think I'm going to add this like pay for convenience / microtransactions. I think those two things. I'll pay the $2.99 for my currency tab on PoE. Thank you very much. Fair. And that's there's these things where it's like, what? Some of these become subjective in my opinion, where it's like, what does that mean for you? How heavy does that rate for you? You know, things like that. Let's see. Nihili started talking about instances and how like removing all of them could remove the ability to do bigger, harder core content like boss battles and things like that. But and I think Chaffee said games that don't have instant content usually makes the PvE content feel pretty bad, or like it's just Zerg content at that point. And then if you guys have seen, if you're a fan of anime, I like anime a lot. I've watched Shangri-La Frontier. I really enjoy how the boss battle in Shangri-La Frontier works in the beginning of the seasons, where like a party enters and there's like this red wall of like, you cannot pass this barrier. Either the boss dies or the party dies before that barrier comes back down. But that also allows people from the outside to observe inward. And I think that was kind of interesting. And I'd like to see something like that in a video game where if it's open world, it's still technically instance locked, meaning like you can't get in or out until one or the other resolves. But it's still something that other people can see, I guess. I had the max number of retainers in Final Fantasy XIV. Fair. As long as the pay for convenience isn't an item you can sell for in-game coin. Okay, Mr. Dubtastic. See, and that's one of those things that it kind of depends, right? So, yeah, that's very fair. It said... It'd also be a cool way to learn... Nuhili said it'd also be a cool way to learn to fight without a video or Googling it as well. New World has some non-dungeon boss fights like that. It was good. Yeah. Thickly, enjoy your lurk, friend. Huzzah. Okay. Final Fantasy XIV. When they released new gear tokens, you can convert the old ones. Oh yeah, we were also talking about being able to convert... having too many forms of currency. That was another dislike. And not being able to convert it. I'm going to find a blacksmith to make those daggers. Very fair. And then we were talking about how like Final Fantasy did the conversion pretty nicely, where like every time you got new tokens for your gear, you're able to convert the old ones up. Let's see. Then we were talking about add-ons a little bit. RMT. No RMT. No RMT. No real money transactions. I feel like this kind of goes with pay to win. but I'm, you know what? There's enough of a difference between the two that I'm gonna put it kind of together separately, I guess. Because you could buy an item from the shop that makes you more powerful, or you could buy an item from the shop that you can sell, and then you can get gold in game. So I feel like it kind of has it feels similar but different. We might shrink down the list. It's one of those, it depends. Classes have skills and abilities be related to what weapons and armor you wear. So down with the WoW token. Yes, exactly. You guys know how I feel about the WoW token by this point. But I kind of disagree with Dragon. Dragon wants there to be no classes. Have skills and abilities only be related to what weapons and armor you wear, which I'm not a fan of this. I politely disagree. I feel like if there aren't any classes and all of your skills are based on your weapons, like how Guild Wars 2 does it, it doesn't feel like it's my choice. It feels like I'm stuck to like whatever weapon I want the abilities to at that point. And so I like more so having the flexibility of being able to heal, but like maybe with something a little less conventional. But I feel like this one would be classes and abilities would go here. I disagree also. Classes is a part of the RPG element. Yeah, that's how I feel. And I mean, I got into MMORPGs from playing TTRPGs where all of your abilities were based off of the class you were playing and not the armor and the weapons you're wearing. Weapon-based skills is okay. I don't mind it in New World, but I'd prefer having my class fantasies. Yeah, and I think that's a big thing for me personally. I'm looking for class fantasy. And I think this is very important, right? Because this shows the nuance within the MMORPG genre where there's these different aspects that we're all looking for, and having more items like being able to have your weapons determine what skills you have are very appealing to a certain demographic. And for me, I'd rather be able to set my stuff. Yeah, I need druid fantasy. Exactly. Welcome in, Basil. Cheers. I just don't want my class to be locked into certain weapons. And that's exactly how I feel. Yeah. Newtastic says any and all hard CCs in PvP. Interrupts, knockbacks, roots, snares, silences, all good. Stuns, mezzes, anything that prevents you from playing at all for a duration of time needs to go. I think this is value add for the developer. People are going to spend either way in today's world, either have it go to the developer or through third-party sites. Well, see, in Kando, I understand what you're saying, but like my opinion on the matter is that I would rather you not buy the WoW token from other people. Like if I wanted to be able to buy the WoW token with in-game money, I'd rather I buy it from an NPC or something like that, and not a player buys it with real money, sells it on the marketplace. I buy it with in-game gold, they get gold, right? It's just, it's one of those, that's how I would prefer to see it be done. But I do agree. I'd rather the developer get the money. So yes, hard CCs. That's what I was typing in. Hard CCs. Rip Ashes. Yeah. Rip Ashes indeed. Welcome in. How are you? I only want this to apply to weapons, and even then, only limited fashion, like 2 to 3 unique active weapon abilities. Yeah, I agree with Noobtastic. I mean, if you're gonna have a weapon adjust how your abilities are, I would like it to be at a slightly smaller degree. If you can buy something with IRL money and through whatever means end up with in-game coin, that's hard to pay to win in any game where gear equals power, and that's hard pass or mate. Yeah, WoW tokens did nothing to stop bannable RMT. Yeah, I agree. Steven really did pull Wolverize. Yeah, it's one of those, I don't even know at this point. It's gotten so crazy. We've been following it on the sidelines. Yeah, exactly, Soul. I like the idea of the token. I think for people that play in-game a lot who don't have as much IRL money to spend on WoW tokens, being able to have some way of buying the WoW token in game with in-game gold, I think that's really important. I think that makes it where the people that are dedicatedly playing your game are still getting rewarded by being able to spend their in-game money on more in-game time. And I think taking that away would be kind of remiss, I guess. And I think that the way that they handled it, or the way that they chose to do it, where a real life player could buy the gaming token and then sell it on the marketplace for gold, in theory, that's great, but it does automatically bloat. Like, the only way for me to catch up to that person with all of that money now, who's been spending all of their money on WoW tokens to sell it on the marketplace, is to do the same thing. And if I don't have the real life money, I can never keep up with them in terms of gold. So that's just kind of how I feel about the situation. I'm not, looking down on them or anything for that. It's just not my favorite part of the game. So, Bean says I'd like the general classes, but the skills be used based. So I pick mage, which gives me all the spells, but my level up is based on what I use. Let me just be a fire mage specifically. I like that. And then there's a long conversation about skills and stuff. And then S Vision says mechanics for your character that only exist during boss fights or other difficult content. So there's no way to learn them in less stressful settings. Interesting. That's bad. Okay, so like mechanics for your character that only exist. That's a bad. Okay, so yeah. Mechanics only used in really hard fights. That's fair. There we go. It used to be more microtransactions, but that's not true anymore. I'd call them macro transactions. Yeah, I could feel that. Hey, if my healer thinks he's a badass and wants to slice and dice with daggers, then he should feel a lot of... I'm just saying, I really enjoy playing Kiriko from Overwatch because she's a healer with these little like kunai, and they're so freaking cute. I love it. It's a unique way to play, and I like that, like, thinking out of the box with the gameplay. Like, who said that was the only way I could heal is with a staff? Telegraph mechanics are bad. Takes the learning out of learning the fight. Yes and no. However, I feel like being able to turn on and off telegraphed things is important, because you have people that have certain... not like necessarily blindnesses, but like kind of like handicaps where like having that telegraph is better for a first time user experience. Like me learning how to play an MMORPG, like World of Warcraft is my first MMO. Me learning how to play that for the very first time, the telegraphing was really important for me, because that allowed me to realize like, oh, there's a thing that's about to happen. I should probably try to get out of the way. And the telegraph says how far out of the way I have to get. Now, as a more experienced player multiple years later, I do agree I would like to be able to rely just on hearing what the boss is doing and knowing that the boss is about to make an attack, right? I think World of Warcraft started adding things like that, where you hear like a certain line and you need to like keep an eye out for that line and then start like trying to silence the boss or CC the boss in some manner so he doesn't do that really hardcore ability. Hey, zombie. Cheers. Welcome in, friend. I like animation telegraphing, but visual area on the ground, the way Final Fantasy XIV does it, is bad to me. Was more needed in older games, but new games have better options. Very fair, Noobtastic. In ESO, I was a tank till telegraphed mechanics. In ESO, I was a tank till telegraphed mechanics I had to pay attention to was very subtle nuances in light only. It can be done in good and bad ways. Very true. Telegraphing with the lines is the reason we have "it's hot in the bottom" meme. Yeah. It's hot on the bottom. Very fair. Very fair. Okay, so I added some it depends here, but I'm going to go into that next. So our final question was, What's the one thing that you can't tell from trailers or patch notes? You have to get your hands on it before you can choose if it's your stay for another round or leave the tavern moment. And I thought it'd be kind of cute to add the stay for another round or leave the tavern. For me, it's probably like PvP or XP debt stuff. If it doesn't feel fun, I'm less likely to keep going with that. That and how the abilities feel. So, like, I guess how XP is gained. I'm not a fan of losing XP. Although it didn't feel horrible having XP debt in Ashes, I definitely don't like the idea of losing a level. In ESO, it was just a slight glow for 1 second or so on the boss weapon. Yeah, and I think that there's like more intricate ways to do it, but I think also remembering to keep things accessible for people is important. But for me, that just means having toggleables in the settings. So how combat and movement in general feels is something you can't gauge from patch notes. Exactly. And that's why we have combat flow. I can also say movement in here, because you can see somebody move, but watching somebody move versus feeling it yourself, two very different things. You guys can watch me play video games all day, but until you get behind the seat and you're actually the one swinging it, I think you can kind of gauge a little bit from watching, but you're not going to get the whole picture. You're not going to get the inherent feeling just by watching, in my opinion. Let's see. So that was mine. Bean said, I think a good story. If I can't get into the lore of the game I'm playing, then I move on. Also, if the quest line is the same quest but really repetitive, looking at you, New World, then that's a no for me. And since cinematic trailers don't explain everything, Divinity trailer. So I think, yeah, lore. Lore is definitely one of the things that is important. Kind of ties back to immersion, but it is a make or break for some people. So I think that they're related, but not necessarily the same. And then also redundant quests, maybe? I don't know if I even spelled that correctly. Quests. Sorry. I was on the Scars of Honor Discord today, and there was a discussion going on about mages being able to move and cast at the same time. Yeah? How did that go? Errand quest. Ew. Yeah. Yeah, essentially. Let's see. Cinematics, I think, are a nice touch. Those are a nice to have. They're not something I necessarily need in my gameplay, but it's really nice to have them. And I really did appreciate, immersion-wise, how Final Fantasy XIV included your character in the cutscenes. Like, your character's actually there. And I really appreciated that. But, yeah, I think that was one of the better parts about Ashes I enjoyed. Yeah. Hard to break that habit. Yeah, it is. For the PvP, it really depends on how PvP is done. Open world is opt-in. I may be open than just open world. Same with XP debt. How much XP debt do I have? How long does it take for it to be removed? Does it de-level me? De-leveling is de-leveling and non-consensual PvP are a no-go for me. I preferably no XP debt and only opt-in PvP for me with interesting group PvP events. That's my personal take on the matter. Noobtastic says, just the overall feel of my character movement within the world, both in and out of combat. Combat is huge, but so is world exploration and interaction. It's the very first thing I look at once I'm loaded in. It's all immersion / escape from the real world, so it needs to look and feel good or the systems become irrelevant no matter how amazing they may be. Dead NPCs. Yes, NPC behavior. I love that. Perfect. Yeah. That's a really good one. And then for Basil, it's housing. For me, it's crafting. I have to see how the crafting feels. I feel like this is a modern system that, yeah. Okay, we're talking about like the housing system. For me, I think for not including the housing is one of those like newer modern features that would be kind of silly to leave out of your game, in my opinion, if you're trying to attract a lot of people. So here we go. We have our likes, our dislikes, and our qualitative aspects. And for those of you that are replay crew, first off, thank you guys so much for being a replay crew. That means a lot to me and to Vertec. Vertec sends his huzzas because he's on the road traveling at the moment. But I think what I want to go through real quick with the last 15 or so that I have is kind of go through and talk about like how much of a multiplier. So we've decided on the 1 to 5 to scale. Let me just go ahead and end the poll. So we've decided on the 1 to 5 scale. So how important 1 to 5 is an engaging story? Heathens. 1, not that important. 5, super important. 3, kind of important. 4, okay. 3, okay. Another 3. 3.5. Okay, so story is moderately important, leaning to kind of important. Kind of depends on the MMO. True. That we're talking about like our ideal home. In your mental mind of like, if you could build your ideal MMORPG, how important is the story to you? Got a couple of 4s, a couple of 3s, a 3.5. My ideal home is 5. Okay. Yeah, because this is all like the basis of what we're putting our ranking system on, right? So I'm gonna leave this at 4 because we have enough 3s and we have enough 5s. Like we have a 4, a 3, and a 5, and like a 3.5. So I think a 4 is fair. How important is immersion in the game to you on a 1 to 4 scale? Ideally. Like your ideal MMO, how much immersion should you have? 5, 5. Cool. Got a couple of 5s. Gonna give it a couple more minutes. 5. Okay. So I'm automatically leaning this a little bit heavier on definitely more important. Goes with the storyline. 5. Okay. How important is your character's animations? Like you're walking around and you are trying to do things. How important are like the crafting animation or you talking to an NPC animation? We have a 2. We have a 4. We have a 3. Okay. We'll get to combat. I think responsive weightiness is on a separate line here. This is just like movement animations, like talking and stuff. 3.5, 3. Okay. So we have a good range. 2, 3, 3.5, 3, 4. NPC's animation 2, walking around the world 4. I'll give it a good 3, 3.5. I think I'll give it a 3.5. We'll have Vertec kind of add his to this too. This is just grabbing your guys' thoughts. I'm going to add my multiplier to this. I'm going to add Vertec's multiplier to this. We'll go from there. Okay, now the next one is responsive and weightiness. It does, yes. A lot of this stuff leads into immersion. That could be argued. I feel like we're going to see a larger category and then sub questions under said category. So we got 4, we got 5. This is how important it is for your character. You're swinging your weapon, you're coming into contact with something. How weighty is your weapon? How much contact is that impact on the NPC? These kind of things. 2, 4, 5. Okay. I'm gonna wait a little bit to see more of the votes coming in. I might as well play Osiris. Fair. You're like, it's not that important to me. 3, okay. 5. We got 2 5s, a 3, a 4, and a 2. I'm gonna give this a 4. Feel like a 4 is fair here. Weighing heavier on the upper end, but hey, thank you for the lurk. I can't wait. Are you gonna be at PAX East? I can't wait to see you. Welcome in, friend. World size. How important is the size of the world to you when you're in an MMORPG? Is it really important like a 5? Is it kind of important like a 3? Or is it not that important like a 1? 4. I assumed 4 from you since you suggested it. 4 for Noobtastic. Okay. 4. Okay. We're solid on the 4s here so far. I would say I'm probably a 4 as well. If I had to give my own input on this. So like for me, the engaging story is about a 4 or 5. The immersions, 4 or 5. The animations, 3 to 4 for me. Responsiveness, weightiness, that's about a 3 to 4 as well. Okay, we're pretty solidly 4s across the board on this one. So I'll go ahead and put 4 on here. That one doesn't have as much spread. How important is a good crafting system to you? Now, Oracle, I'm assuming yours is going to be a 5 here. So is it 5 super important to have a really good crafting system? Is it 3? It could be really good. It could be not so great. Meant to say 12. Let's see. Crafting 4, 5, 4, 4. Okay. 4. Okay. So I think I'll put a 4 in here. Honestly, it's quite important, and that's also impactful to other players. 4. Yeah. Okay, 4. So pretty solidly 4 over here. I appreciate that. Okay, cool. I like it. Scaling end game content, like being able to do things end game and not get bored easily. 1, I don't really care about it. 5, it's really important. 3, could go either way. 5, if I could just live at the crafting station, it'd be a dream come true. 3, 5, 5. Okay, so this is pretty important to you guys. And I mean, to be fair, this is where a lot of people spend their time in an MMORPG. They spend their time in the end game. So the end game having like scaling content is quite important. And I would agree with that. I'm going to leave this one also at a 5 because we got enough 5s. I think it does teeter it up higher. But yeah, end game is where it begins. This is true. And how important is the social/RP toolkit in an MMORPG? Being able to do emotes and interact with other people and maybe play an instrument the way that you might want to play the instrument, things like that. How important is it for you to be able to kind of role play or socialize? I would put this a little higher for me. I think it'd be like a 4 or a 5 because I like interacting with other people. So being able to go up to somebody who wants to sell their wares, I'd like to be able to have something like that. That is ideal to me. It's okay if a game doesn't have that, but I do enjoy it when a game does have it. No, you're fine. RP 4, Socialize 5. Yeah, this is like the toolkits for those, which oftentimes if you give a role player a toolkit for socializing, they can typically find a way to turn it into roleplay. But one example that I really love doing it is I really think that having my res ability in WoW, I used to do like a / say or whatever, where I would put in some sort of messaging like, it is not yet your time, adventurer, rise once more, and then it would like cast the heal or like the resurrection spell at the same time. And I just really enjoyed things like that. So for me, that's about a 4. I'm more 3.5, but I don't want to keep saying 3.4. No, it's fine. Because these are like, how important are these? because if you rate this a 1, like this is not you rating like on the game. This is like how important, like this will drastically change how important a thing is. If it's not there, that's going to be a massive deduction from the scores. So this is like a score multiplier of how important it is for you. And so you don't have to look at this as like, I want everything. I get what you're saying, but like, I think that this is important enough to have a higher weight to it because these are things that you guys want to see in your games. But I do get it. I love being able to macro shouts or say an ability. I think RP should be on specific servers. I think RP should be accessible, but if I think, yeah, 4, I was gonna go with 4 anyway. I think 4 like feels, the more I think of it, 4. Okay. I think that roleplay should be like, I enjoy light roleplay in my games. I don't always want to go around, you know, pretending to be a tavern keeper necessarily. Maybe if I got in the mood for that, but I would probably also join a roleplay server for that, particularly because that's where people are more likely to roleplay, I think. So, let's see. I spent a good 10 minutes just getting through this list. I think maybe what we could do, speed round these, all right? Y'all are ready. You guys, we've done the likes. I want to see if we can speed round going through these, all right? Pay to win. How important is not having pay to win in your game? 5, 5, 5, 5. Okay. So very important to not have 5 all across the board. Okay. How important is the view of your game? Like isometric, etc. Mobile MMOs and PC MMOs. Fair. 4, 4, 4.5, 5. Okay. I'll give this a solid 4. 4, 5, 5. Okay. I'll give it a 4.5. I'll raise it up a little. So 4.5, that's fair. Because for me, I really don't like isometric. So it's kind of important to me, but I wasn't going to put my viewpoint in the chart yet. All right, open world PvP unfettered. Like just you're in the game, somebody can come up and attack you. How important is it if that's a system that's in the game? 1, okay. 1. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so you guys aren't so much caring if this is in here. I'm gonna give this about a 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3. I'm gonna give this about a 2. I feel like Mortal Online speaks it all get rid of that system. I'll put up with it, but I'm not advocating for it. Fair. Okay, so you're not advocating to get rid of it. Because this is the dislike, so this is important to like how important is it to not have it? So not super important to not have it, but you're not gonna necessarily like, you know, hate it necessarily. For me, it depends on allies coming to aid me. Very fair. Okay, instance housing or instances in general. Housing is okay. This was the person's viewpoint, but instances in general. How important is it that there are instances in the game? Housing is aside is essentially what I'm saying for this person's viewpoint, but this person really does not like instances. Do you guys care if there's instances? 5. Don't care if there's instances. 1. Could care less either direction. 3. So we got a 5, we got a 3. 3. Okay. 4. Okay. 2. Okay. Pretty solid. Don't like them. Fair. That's very fair. I'll put this a 3. Wait, the higher number? No. This is the dislikes. So this is how important is it for them to not exist. 5 is it important for it to not exist? 1 is I don't really care if it exists or not. It's not really gonna bother me. And 3 is, well, no, 3 is more like I don't really care. 1 is sure, I prefer it, I guess. I'm a 2. Yeah, okay. Well, it's a 3 anyway. So you guys are swapped. It's all good. Bad first time user experience. Game does not tell you how to play it. How important is that to you that is fixed? So 5 is I hate it, can never have it. Yes. Because this is the dislikes list here. Like, how important is it that this is not in here? Yeah. So first time user experience 3, 3, 3, 5. Okay. Okay, so 3s, mainly 3s. I expected that one to be about a 3, so first time user experience. It is, yeah, the acronym for first time user experience, or like how well the game describes. Yeah. Oh, Vertec. Thank you for stopping in. Yes, this scale multiplier should be how weighty the responses should be later. Individual votes on how much they like that aspect of the game. Like, how important is this that is a thing in the game or not a thing in the game? It is, yeah. It's important as heck to keep game alive and pique my interest. Yeah, demand, damned if you do, damned if you don't. High barrier of entry. Yes, that's right. That's why like the dislike is having a bad first time user experience. Actually, can't grow if you don't hook new players. Exactly, it's very, very important. I agree. Okay, so how important is it that there is not a high barrier of entry? Hello, Hair Curls. Dr. Curls saying hello. Miss you all. Well, cheers, Dr. Curls. Thanks for stopping in. 2, okay. 3, okay. We're doing ratings right now. We're talking about different features in an MMORPG. Right now, we're going through the dislikes. So I'm asking people, because we're doing on a scale of 1 to 5, how important is it for these features? And we're in the dislikes, so how important is it for there to not be a high barrier of entry? 5, super important. 1, could care less about it. 3, kind of important. We got a 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3. Like, pay to win should be a big multiplier. It is, yeah, it's at 5. Lantern Smite 3. Yeah, so I feel like 3 is good. Welcome in, Lantern Smite, by the way. How are you, friend? I think the game is interesting enough, it won't matter. Very fair. And I think I think that your guys' thoughts kind of reflect that. All right, so how important is it that there's not too many forms of currency? 5, there should definitely be more simplistic currencies. 1, I could care less, have all the currencies you want. 3, like, I don't really care about the system. Why are you asking me? I don't care. Fair. 3, 5, 4, 4, 2. Okay. I'm PoE fan. 1. 3, 5. Oh, what you drinking? Okay, so I think I'm gonna put this at a 4. Because I think a lot of like currency bloat is a thing. Like dealing with currency bloat. Okay, so RMT. This is similar to pay to win, but I think that they can be nuanced enough. They may eventually get combined. But how important is it for there to be no RMT in your game? 5, extremely important. 1, don't really care if there's RMT. Have it if you want. It's not going to bother me. 3, I don't know. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Rum, pineapple, and mango. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Just tossing it out there. It's as unfettering PvP for me as highly valuable response categories. Makes it, yeah, exactly. 2, 5, 4, 6, 4. Can't prevent, so won't bother with it. Fair. 3. Okay. So I think I'm gonna put this at like a 4. Hard CCs. How important for you in PvP? I'm gonna add this in PvP. How important is it for you to not have hard CCs in a PvP? By that, anything that stun locks you from being able to do any sort of like anything for a period of time. 1, 1, 1. Okay, so driving again, back to just listening. Okay, enjoy the drive. 3, 2, 4, but it'll always be there. Fair. Okay, so we're on like 1s and 3s and stuff. I'll put this at a 2. 1 unless getting CC changed, then 5. I don't care until it's me, and then I care. Exactly. All right. How much of an importance is it for there to be mechanics used in all of your fights, not just your hard fights? Like, how important is it to have the harder stuff be available to the easier stuff to a smaller degree? Hard CC chains is why I hate it. Yeah. 4, 1. Okay. Kind of opposite here. 3, 4, 5, 3. Okay. I like these. So we're at like 3s, 4s. I feel like this is a 3.5 maybe. A little rated lower just because there is a couple of the 1s in there. I like scaling. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I like the scaling as well. I think having a smaller version of that ability in a lower, easier gameplay might be helpful, just to kind of get used to, oh, when a mob does this, it's going to do that. Like if the mob starts to tuck and roll, you know it's going to roll this direction. But then when you get to the harder bosses, it might roll and also do a knockback or something like that. Just for example, show me my peeps that like to stand in red stuff. All right, so how important is housing for you? Like, it's really important that they get it right. You could care less if they get it right or not. I don't even like housing. 1. 5, 1. Okay, we got 1 of each. 1. Hands raised. 4. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 1, 1. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna put this change 1.5. Okay, so like I could care less about housing, but I care like just a little bit, tiniest little bit. Hyped up CRP. If it has stats that affect me, then I have to. Okay. 5. Okay. I'll put this about like a 3. 3.5. 3.5 community wide. Again, these multipliers may not necessarily be your values individually. You might be like, housing is super important to me, or I don't even like housing. Why is it even in a game? And that's fine. I'm just looking for like the average here. To be fair, the green stuff killed me more than that. It's just fair. All right, how important is crafting? Crafting is super important to get down. I don't touch crafting. I could care less. It could be great. It could be horrible. I'd still play it. 5, 4. I had stacked furniture in Guild Wars Suit. Nice. 4, 4.5. 3.5. 3.5. Okay. Okay. So 5, 4, 4.5. Okay. I think we'll lean this towards the 4s. I feel like this is towards the 4s. Unless useless crafting 1, impactful crafting 4. Yeah, but this is like how important is the crafting system in general. Because again, right, this is why it's in the qualitative. If it's not helpful crafting, you're probably going to skip the game. If it's really good crafting, you're probably more likely to stay. Gonna miss making threads. Oh, are you though? Okay, how important is the graphics of the game? Like the old style MMO versus like the high fidelity newer MMOs that are coming out, all the RPGs that are coming out. How important is the graphic style? 4, 4, 4. Okay. Oracle needs to vote twice. 4. Erwin, are you going over there to vote twice? 2, 4. Oh my gosh. What? Used to not care, realizing it's 4.5 for me now. Okay, okay. So I think I'll put this at a 4. 4 is pretty important. Like the graphic styling for you weighs a lot. So yeah, okay. Combat flow. How important is the flow of combat to you? When you start a combat versus when you finish a combat and everything in between, how important is that flow? 10. I am 50 years old. Started with EverQuest. Fair. 5, 10, 5. Okay. 5. Okay. I would agree with this. I kind of assumed that this was going to be like a 4 to 5 range, honestly. I got you by 1 to 1 years. Nice. I'm gonna give this one a 4.5 for right now. 11, fair. How important are the combat systems in a game? Cheers to my 50-something crew. Aw. Cheers. 5, 5, 4, 5, 4. Okay. That's the last of my water. 4, 4. Okay. So this is very important as well. I'm going to give this to the 5s, actually. So, pay for convenience or microtransactions. How important for you is the way that that is handled? Very important. I don't want any of it. Like, I could care less. 3 is like, eh. 3, 3. I kind of figured this one to go, like, could go either way type of thing. 4, 2. Okay, okay. 4, as long as it can't be turned to pay to win. Yeah, so this is why they're separate. Like, pay for convenience and microtransactions. When I'm thinking of those, I'm thinking, like, cosmetic microtransactions that don't have any impact on your gear or your stats. Things like that. That's why I have them all separated into, like, different listings. 3, yeah, okay, so 3 to 4. I'm gonna leave this as a solid 3 because there's enough like 4s and 2s in there to kind of equal it back to 3. Classes and abilities. How important is your class fantasy or being able to adjust your abilities based on like your weapons and stuff? 4, 4, 5, 5, 5. Okay. I also expected this to be a higher 4.5, 5. Okay. Very fair. I also expected this being one of those like more, it matters to me. How important is how your XP is gained? Ah man, ad break. Bad timing. Rude. Just rude. 3, 3. I'm just gonna highlight this. I can. I can't, but that's okay. 4, 4, 4, 5. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna put this at a 4. 1. How important is movement? Like you're moving around the, like, not like you're fighting, but like just your character movement, like how you walk. Miming it out for the people that can't hear me. 2, 4, 4, 4. 4, 4, 4. Okay. 4 is pretty solid number here. How important is the lore? I was trying to like mime out like the walking because like you see like, you know, if a male character has like a female like sashway, you know, you never know. Could be feminine leaning though. Never know. But yeah, how important is the lore? 4 for lore. 10. TV's getting her mall walking. Yeah, exactly. 5, 3.5, 2, 4, 3. Bochi is having a good population player base a factor. That is something that could be a factor. We can add population. There you go. But with lore, I'm gonna go back to 4, maybe? 4, 3.5, 2, 3.5, 5, 10. 4, 3, 4. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave actually, like, this is maybe a 3.5, 3.5 to 4. I'll leave it 4. We'll see where that lands. Redundant quest. How important is not having redundant quest? All of those just taking like errands and, you know, killing 10,000 zebras for 5 hooves. 1, I hate dailies. Yeah, but that's the point. Like, so 5, it would be 5, Erwin, because 5 is, I don't, like, it's very important that there's not any redundant quests. Graven, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2. Okay. Yeah, later on, you'll be able to, like, to kind of give an example. Let's say we were reviewing Quinfall. You would go into the engaging story part and you'd be like, okay, how important, how engaging was the story? You're like, I'd say about a 2. It was kind of a 2 for engaging story. That automatically in the back end goes 2 times 5 and gets added to a number. And this is how we're going to, or sorry, 2 times 4. I didn't even read, no worries. But that would eventually like have a certain number that comes out, and depending on how high that number is where this will fall on a community input tier list, if you will. But I think we will say NPC behaviors. How important are the NPCs' behaviors when you're in the world? Like the way that they interact. Do they like, is it important to you that they're not just soulless? Is it important that they're actually moving around? Or do you just not really care? 4, 4, 4, 4, 2. Okay. 2. Okay. 3. Okay. So 4s. 3 to 4. Because every NPC needs a home. Yes, they do. I love NPC acting, even if it's only text. Yeah, you know, I also really like when certain NPCs aren't there at night because they went to bed. You know, like you can't find them at nighttime, or vice versa. There's only the sneaky rogues that are out at night. I really enjoy the little nuanced behaviors in those. I'm gonna give this a 4. Population laughs in Night Quest with the jump puzzle. No. How important is it that the world feels populated to you when you're running around in an MMORPG, that you see other players actively playing? Okay, 5, 4, 5, 5. It is an MMORPG after all. 4, 3. Okay. 4. Okay. 4, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3. I'll give this to the 4s. All right. And thank you, Bochi, for adding that in. That's a good one that we kind of missed. And if you guys are watching this and you want to leave your thoughts, please let me know. I'd love to see it. On same server, 5, as game as a whole, 1. Yeah, I'm talking about like just on like while you're running around in the world, how important is it for you to see everybody else? So for me, I think that'd be a 5. But that was a really good important distinction to add into there. Can we add how important is it to you that games don't have mandatory jump puzzles? 5. Fair. Instead of horror games for October, we're getting Chibi to play platform. Yes, that has been decided. I'm really bad at platformers, so I thought it'd be kind of funny to make my my punishment for something be having to play a platformer. So yeah. I never rage as hard as I do at jumping puzzles. Same, Basil. Same. All right. Well, I think we kind of have that. And I would like to have like an other notes maybe section to see like what other people are talking about. But yeah, I think it's one of those, these are some of the most important likes, dislikes, and things that you want to feel, in terms of, ooh, actually, that could be a good one to add real quick. Just Desert Soul, optional completions, like mount collecting, title collections. So, optional collecting. Completions, collections. How important, last one, how important is this to you? 4, achievement system. Yeah, kind of like an achievement system. 5, Chivos. I refuse to play any sort of game with game-changing puzzles. 1, 4. Okay. Yeah, good call out. 4. Okay. I'd give this a solid 4. I think it's really important too. That was one of my favorite things to do in Endgame, is try to go get achievements and stuff. 4. Okay, cool. So yeah, good call out. And I will continue adding to these. So while I wrap this up, I did want to say, like, again, for those that are having joined us a little bit late, this is one of those things. I'm doing a shorter stream today because I have to get up at stupid o'clock in the morning before the sun even is up and get on a plane. So I wanted to at least make sure that I jumped on here and we got this part fleshed out. Optional completion goals for quests with bonus rewards. Yes, exactly. I like that too. I'm going to file that one under optional completions and collections, but it's important to note that in general, that there's things like that. I mean, we went down a whole side tangent at one point, just trying to get all the emotes out of Final Fantasy 14. Let's see, who do we have online? There's a few people. We have Wicca playing Project Gorgon. We have Essa Derek playing World of Warcraft again. I think we raided over to Essa recently, so I want to try to find somebody else. Nice Gaming's doing Mortal Online 2, if you guys like that. Let's see. We have Strauss playing World of Warcraft. We have Small Bean. We have our moderator playing Little Witch in the Woods. If you guys like the cozy stuff. Yeah, I like stuff about secret objectives. They talked about for scars. Yeah, exactly. I think that's important. But yeah. If you guys don't have any ideas, I might raid over to Bean, who is super sweet and really helped me this last weekend. You vote Bean? Okay. I'll get Bean ready. You guys, Bean was super sweet, has been making some art for us, and I really appreciate her. She's one of our new artificers who's really stepped up and helped us to redo all of the Discord. Speaking of the Discord, if you like this kind of content, we did a lot of these questionnaires on our Discord. Of course, I'm going to also look at the comment section if you guys want to leave us a comment on what your likes, your dislikes, or your qualitative aspects are that maybe didn't get listed, and give us your multiplier to it. I would be happy to add that into the list before we go live next Monday. But Vertec and I would love to try and get a lot of this. No! Bean is leaving? Bean's not allowed to leave. No! Rude. Rude. Now where are we supposed to raid over to? Huh. That was a little rude. Shame on Bean. Let's see. Let's see. Her stream is over. Yeah, okay. I'm like watching MO2, but Mortal Online 2, but never want to play it after getting murdered 5 minutes into the game and spawn camped. Yeah, that's how I feel. Nice, that's what I was thinking. I'm on Nice's chat right now, so I think we'll go ahead and go raid Nice. I'm glad I didn't start the raid. Silly. All right. Well, Vertec has taught me a new thing. And yeah, it has been a minute. Vertec has taught me how to give you guys receipts, so I can no longer say you guys can't get receipts because I don't know how. So yeah, now I have to give you receipts. But thank you guys so much. You could have also been doing your own ranking system and trying to figure out what people like or dislike, but instead you came here and you listened to me ramble for like an hour about different features and MMORPGs that we wish to see or don't wish to see, wish to say goodbye to, and creating how important of a multiplier that is. But you can't get your time back. I really do appreciate that you spent it here, but there are no refunds. I cannot give that back. I'll rank TGFT as a 9.999 out of 10. Aw, thank you, Fufo. Hi, friend. Welcome in. But yeah, so while I can't give you a refund, I can definitely give you a receipt, and you can hold on to it and remember your time here at the tavern. But in the meantime, I must say adieu, and we are gonna raid over to we're gonna raid over. I forgot how to do this. Hold up. Oh, there we go. Trigger test. See you guys later. Bye.